Maggie and Eric had always been curious about the strange, abandoned farm just outside town. Local rumors about it had circulated for years. Whispers of a family that had vanished without a trace, leaving behind a decaying farmhouse and overgrown fields. Some said the farm had been abandoned after a gruesome tragedy, while others believed the land was cursed, haunted by the souls of those who had lived there. Maggie and Eric didn't believe in curses or ghosts until they decided to investigate for themselves. "We'll be fine," Eric said, as they made their way down the overgrown path leading to the farm. The sun was setting behind the trees, casting long, twisted shadows across the property. "It's just a creepy old farmhouse. Nothing we can't handle." Maggie, though skeptical, felt an uneasy tension in the air. The place felt wrong, too quiet, too still. As they approached the farmhouse, she could almost feel the eyes of something unseen watching them from the windows. She could smell the faint scent of decay in the air, mixed with the dry, earthy smell of the long-abandoned fields. "Eric, look!" she whispered, pointing toward the figure. Eric turned around and squinted into the field, but there was nothing there, just the empty, dark expanse of land. "I don't see anything," he said, his voice shaky now. "It's probably just your imagination." But Maggie was certain. She had seen the figure, a pale, gaunt shape standing still in the dark, watching them. "I'm going outside," she said, her voice tight with anxiety. Eric reluctantly followed her. As they stepped outside, the air felt thicker, heavier than before. The wind had stopped completely, leaving the world eerily still. Where did the house go?" she gasped. Eric turned around, and his eyes widened in horror. The farmhouse was no longer behind them. The field stretched endlessly in every direction, with no sign of the house. "Maggie, this isn't funny," Eric said, his voice rising in panic. "What's going on?" Suddenly they heard a voice. It was faint at first, like a whisper on the wind, but it grew louder with every passing second. "Help! Please help!" The voice was soft and pleading, as though it were coming from deep within the earth itself. Maggie's heart pounded in her chest as she realized it was the voice of a woman, or perhaps a child, someone lost, trapped, crying for help. "Who's there?" Maggie shouted, her voice shaking with fear. Then the ground beneath them gave way. The earth opened up, swallowing them both whole. They screamed, but the screeching sound of soil and rock moving consumed everything. When they landed, the world around them was no longer a field. It was a deep, pitch-black void, as though they had fallen into some kind of underground pit. The whispering voices grew louder, swirling around them, their words unintelligible, but full of anguish. Maggie and Eric scrambled to stand, but their legs felt weak, as if the very air around them was draining their strength. And then in the distance, they saw it, a figure moving toward them. It was the same gaunt, pale figure they had seen in the field. But now, it was not alone. More figures emerged, crawling toward them from the darkness, their faces twisted in agony. "Please, help us!" the voice begged again. But it was no longer from one person. It was from the entire pit, from every soul trapped in the dark. Eric grabbed Maggie's arm, trying to pull her away, but the ground seemed to move beneath them, pulling them deeper. The last thing they heard before everything went silent was the sound of footsteps. Heavy, deliberate footsteps, coming closer and closer. Have you ever found yourself hopelessly lost, confused, and feeling like you were being watched? Beware, there are terrifying and mysterious beings that few have ever seen and lived to talk about. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and follow us for more. Join us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube for more bone-chilling chronicles, if you dare.